What's up, fan base, and welcome to episode 8 of the Anime Society podcast. I am Jonah, of course, and with me today is Hunter, as usual. What's up, Hunter?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. What's going on, Anime Society?
Want to give a big shout out to everybody who has been liking and subscribing the video to our channel and supporting the content that we've been bringing. We got a huge influx of subscribers over the last week, so thank you guys so much. We're doing everything that we can to improve the channel, give you guys quality anime content on a weekly basis. And so seriously, thank you guys so much. Wouldn't be possible without you. Now, before we get into the topic for today, we want to add a new feature to our channel. And this is really to make our YouTube channel, the videos that we make, and our Instagram page a little bit more connected and interactive with the fans. The idea is basically this. We're going to start today. It's going to be this week. We want you to post any kind of questions that you have for us, the content creators, down in the comment section. This can be personal questions about our lives, likes, dislikes, favorite foods, whatever it is. Or it can be anime related, favorite series, what we think about a certain character, who we think would win in a fight between two characters, whatever. I mean, you guys can be creative and go any kind of way that you want with it. And the idea is that the day before the following video comes out, so the day before episode 9 releases, one of us will do a video on Instagram of us personal face-to-face where we go through and answer all the questions. And then me and Hunter will just alternate weeks. And the idea is that this lets you look a little bit into our lives as people, helps normalize it, helps you feel better personal connection, I guess, between us, the content creators, and you, the fan base. And I think it'd be cool. It'll probably spark some interesting discussions and interesting debates. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I guess we can get into the topic. Hunter, you want to introduce what it is?
Yeah, and we are revisiting a series that we started back a few episodes ago. A lot of you guys really enjoyed that series, and we cannot wait to bring you part 2 of that series, and it is anime characters who deserved better. And let me tell you, we got three good characters. One of them really isn't much of a character as much as it is a whole body, a whole group of people within the anime itself. So we've got 3 great topics for you today that we're getting ready to dive deep into. And with that, let's go ahead and get this on the road. We're going to start off now with the Hyuga clan. And that's what I meant when I said a few minutes ago. It's not necessarily just one character, but more like a people as a whole from the anime Naruto. And the reason why we bring up the Hyuga clan is, at the beginning of Naruto, they were basically held to a pedestal that this is the strongest clan within Konoha, within the Leaf Village. Yeah. There were the 2 major clans most people talked about. It was the Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan. One of them had the Byakugan, which was the Hyuga clan, and one of them had the Sharingan, which is obviously the Uchiha clan. And I don't understand why they played the Hyuga clan off to be so strong when they literally crap on them throughout the rest of the series. It's like, literally. It's like, look, guys, this is the epitome of strength within our village as a whole. Yeah. And you're just like, really? Wow. And so you see Neji, who's supposed to be the prodigy, really the genius, come out of the Hyuga clan. And he is, of course, 1 year older than everybody else at the time that are characters in Naruto. So he's got a year of experience on everybody else. But he does have some strength, and he does have great prowess when he's using his Byakugan. And then you see the princess of the Hyuga clan in Hinata. And she, of course, is meek, but she does have a little bit of experience with the Byakugan as well. And so you're thinking, oh, wow, dang, the Byakugan is really cool. You can see 360 vision around you. You can see chakra points and be able to use the certain methods to block those chakra points. And it looks really sick. And then all of a sudden, Kishimoto was like, But the Sharingan, though, you know, we got to Mangekyo Sharingan. We've got where you can use the Amaterasu and shoot flames out of your eyes. We'll give you Susanoo later, where you basically have a damn demon entity that comes out of you, made out of chakra.
Right.
And then the more that they go in depth about how strong the Sharingan is over the Byakugan, you're like, well, that was just a crock of horse that they said the Hyuga clan was stronger than the Uchiha clan. What is this?
Literally, that's why they deserve better, man. They got gassed up so much at the beginning of Naruto. I mean, and the thing is too, is like when they originally started out, they were somewhat on equal terms.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like Neji was considered a genius, so was Sasuke, and you had like I feel like during the Chunin exams, there was kind of foreshadowing that they might have to face off against each other. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But the abilities of the Byakugan were definitely like somewhat equal to the Sharingan. Well, as far as what you knew at that point in the story.
Early
Naruto.
The
Sharingan, right. The Sharingan seemed like its only function was like you could see people's jutsu and you could copy it, and then it also provided, you know, somewhat of a defense against genjutsu, which is basically just like mind tricks and illusions. But it wasn't like this all-powerful thing, you know. And then as the story went on, I mean, like everyone forgot about the Byakugan. Like it wasn't even like a thing anymore. And then Kishimoto added like 15 abilities to the Sharingan and made it just like so overpowered. And it's like, wait, what happened? I thought the Byakugan and the Sharingan were supposed to be on equal footing. You know, I thought the Hyuga clan was supposed to be on equal footing with the Uchiha. But then as the story goes on, you're like, dang, the Uchiha were so far superior.
Yeah, and then when Shippuden starts to get to the end, this is slightly spoiler, but it's not really. You know, Shippuden starts to get to the end, and they introduce, obviously, Kaguya, who has the Byakugan, and I agree with your statement that we talked about off screen. It was almost like Kishimoto's last-ditch effort to somehow revive and make the Byakugan feel like it was actually important.
Right.
But that just wasn't the case, because the Rinnegan that Sasuke then has, even if it is only in one eye, was miles stronger than the Byakugan that Kaguya had. And they basically played Kaguya out to be a god. So they definitely screwed the Hyuga clan as a whole, and we could almost just say they screwed the Byakugan as a whole.
Yeah.
For those of you that really haven't gone into the lore either about the Sharingan and the Byakugan, they both have next levels that they can quote-unquote evolve to. Obviously, the Sharingan can evolve into the Rinnegan. Well, the Byakugan can evolve into the Tensagan. And even that is, like, nowhere near as strong, it seems like, than the Rinnegan. So,
right, and
it's just,
and on top of
they ruined that.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, the Tensagan felt like another last-ditch effort, like a butt pull at the very end. It's like, nowhere in the actual story, like the canon story of Naruto, does it mention the Tensagan.
Right.
You know? In a movie that came out after they invented the Tensagan, they were like, oh, this is the next level of the Byakugan. It's like, all right, would y'all chill with like these half-effort attempts to make the Byakugan seem important? Like, you guys already screwed it. You forgot about it for 500 episodes and never, you know, gave it any kind of power upgrade or boost and notoriety or whatever, and now you're trying to like compensate at the very end. It
to
just
me,
felt lame.
it's like, to me, you look at the Byakugan and you're like, okay, this is great maybe defensively, and scouting wise. You can look around you 360 degrees, and how far out you can see with it obviously depends on how the strength of the Hyuga user himself. And then you can also see chakra points, maybe kind of decipher their chakra nature. That's cool and defensive. But my god, the Sharingan is about offensive as hell. If you can shoot flames out of your eye just by looking at something that burn eternally until you tell them to stop, Amaterasu, Susanoo, the Mangekyo Sharingan, the Izanagi that changes reality, the Izanami that's an eternal genjutsu loop. Are you kidding me? Why? It's like eventually the Hyuga clan is on the tipping point of collapse where there are no longer any more Byakugan users. And I hate to put it this way, but I think we would have been okay with that. because this Sharingan is just so much cooler.
It just seemed like Kishimoto forgot about it or something, or that it was like the fan base loved the Sharingan. I mean, the Sharingan does look cooler, you know.
God, yes.
And some of the abilities were cooler, so it was like, and also I feel like the fact that you had Itachi, who was a villain early on in Naruto, and he had the Sharingan, and it kind of gave some clout and some like mystery about it. You didn't have like a villain who had the Byakugan. I feel like if you had that, then maybe it would have gained some more popularity in the fan base.
Yeah.
But the way that they did it just seemed like they forgot about it. They tried to revive it at the end, but it just felt just underwhelming, and the Hyuga clan definitely deserved better. From the expectations that you had at the beginning to what you actually got, they deserved better than what they had.
I agree. And that is going to end our first, not quite anime character, but just anime group as a whole that deserved better. Now the next one we're getting ready to go into is in fact an anime character, and it comes from the anime Death Note, and that is going to be L. And I think a lot of us can agree L deserves better. Jonah, how about you take it away with this one?
Yeah, so massive spoilers ahead if you haven't watched Death Note. Just FYI, because if you haven't watched Death Note, please, I am begging you, do not watch this portion on L until after you've watched it, because it ruins it ruins so much of the story. So the plot of Death Note is, Light Yagami finds the Death Note, and he starts acting like he is God. He controls people's lives, so he starts killing criminals with the Death Note, killing all these other people. And so L was this top-notch detective that was basically, his sole responsibility was to find out who the villain was, who the guy was that was killing everyone. Because Light didn't use his actual name, of course. He used the name Kira as a disguise, as his moniker, I guess. You have this massive chess battle between L and Light, and it is exhilarating. I mean, every episode, L is cornering Light, or Light corners L. He thinks he's outsmarted him, and then it flips back around with another twist, and it's just this back and forth, and it's so exciting. And then, out of nowhere, and probably a little bit past the midway point, I think Death Note's 35 episodes, and this is probably episode.
I could agree with you and say it's probably a little ways past the midway point.
Right. It was, I think it was around episode 25 out of 35 or something like that. L ends up dying. Light figures out a way to kill L. And then the people who end up taking down Light at the end are L's successors, kind of. But it just feels really underwhelming. It's the way Death Note was built up, you thought it was going to be this heavyweight fight between Light and L the entire way out, and it was going to end with one of them dying, right? You didn't expect one of them to die and then the story to continue.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. 100%. Just to be honest with you, I figured that it would come right down to the end to where, a lot of people would probably believe the good was going to prevail the evil. No matter how you look at Light, whether you thought he was good or evil, that was basically how they were pinning up the matchup. Was L was supposed to be the side of good, and Light was supposed to be the twisted side of evil. And eventually they would have to face each other. And that's exactly what it was throughout the first, 25 episodes, like you said, until they did kill off L. It was just a chess match between the two. They got so close to each other, and they had to just tiptoe around each other, not letting each other know that they knew who each other were. And I think that was what made it so intriguing, is the fact that it was such a mental chess match between the two, and to see how one would react to the other's movement. And for them to cop out and really kill L, who was probably, to me, L was my favorite character. I thought Light was cool. Ryuka's dope just because he was a god of death, but L was the coolest one. Just his mannerisms and how he was, trying to combat against Light and basically get him to step into all of his traps. I thought that L was essentially the best character, and for them to kill him off and to let somebody that you don't even know come in
Right.
and make it look so easy to catch light.
Right.
That's what I think makes it so hard to wrap your brain around it is, you think L is this super genius, and him and Light are both just using their mental strength, and then you kill off L because there's somebody that's supposedly smarter than him waiting at some orphanage?
Right.
That's
it's
so
stupid.
dumb.
Yeah, it really did feel like a cop-out. And, like, it took away from, like, the gravity of the show, Like, I know for me, when I watched through, after Elle died, the show just didn't have the same impact, It didn't have the same excitement,
It was still good, but...
Yeah, no, it's definitely good, but it just didn't have the same, like, oomph to it, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, the way, in my opinion, that it should have ended, the whole story should have built up to a final climactic clash in the final episode where Elle ends up defeating Light, or Light ends up defeating Elle, whichever way you wanted to do it. I would have been fine either way, honestly.
I know a good way that we could, like, compare it. It's like, say me and you are working on a project together, and you do all of the work, but you miss the day of the presentation, and I do the presentation, and I get the 100 on the obviously on the project, and you get the 90. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like L did all the work.
Right.
He did all the work. And then
Yeah.
they cop out at the end and let somebody else get the credit for taking down Light. You hate to see it, man.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
Elle deserved better, man.
100%.
He deserved better.
Elle
He should have
deserved
been the
better.
one. If anyone was going to take down Light, it deserved to be Elle. It didn't deserve to be some orphanage kids riding on his coattails.
Right. And that was the second anime character who deserved better, L from Death Note. And now we have one that's definitely the most interesting out of the three. And that is going to be Meruem from Hunter x Hunter. And the reason why it's the most interesting one here is because you could almost go either way on whether or not Meruem deserved better or not. And just to let everybody know, there will be spoilers ahead because Meruem was introduced in the Chimera Ant arc, which is towards the end of the animated Hunter x Hunter, obviously anime. So with that, he was born the king of the Chimera Ants. Meruem is supposed to be the strongest of the strong, the king that they're all trying to groom to one day allow the Chimera Ants to take over the world. And Chimera Ants, what's so weird about them is they're not born babies, and they're not, they don't grow up babies. Obviously to be then, teenagers and adults. They're just born straight adults. They sit in the cocoon until they're fully adults, and then they're born and they're fully aware from the second that they hatch. So, and Meruem knew he was the king when he was born. So he just popped out the thing and said, all right, y'all my subjects. I am the king, and this is how I do things. He just knew the nin and the power that was coming from him, and he was extremely cruel throughout the beginning of the Chimera Ant arc. He was ruthless. He would kill anybody. If he looked at you wrong, you instantly stopped what you were doing because you knew if you said one more word, he was taking your head off. You would kill
even his own subordinates.
Absolutely, kill his subordinates and everybody. But the reason why people can sit here and wonder, did he deserve better, is because we talked about it a little bit in a past episode. Meruem started to kind of find his sense of humanity as it went along, and he was friends with this girl named Komugi, who was a blind girl. He has these talks with her, obviously, and he almost feels sympathy for her because she is blind. And it's just one of those things where, did he deserve the death that he got, or did he deserve to live because of the humanity that he was starting to really show that he had inside of him? And so, Jonah, I'll go ahead and let you take over for your side, because I'm not sure. I think me and you were kind of in the middle on it, but I'll just let you take it.
I think this one is less of a debate like it was when we did Kiritsugu, the last anime characters who deserve better, and it's more of like, it's really hard to come to a decision as to whether or not he deserved better, because
this is almost one we can leave for the comments to decide, and we just give our opinions.
Definitely, because I'm really conflicted on it as well, because, I mean, sure, Meruem was becoming more and more human and more compassionate and empathetic, and he had a better understanding of what humanity was. He wasn't as arrogant, you know. Like Komugi, the reason why she changed his life, in my opinion, is because Meruem, he thought he was the pinnacle of all living creatures just by default because of how he was born, right? So how you were born in the Chimera Ant society determines your place in the kingdom, determines your worth, right? And here's this frail little blind girl, right? Not born in very high status, who they originally started meeting by playing this it's an invented game in Hunter. It's called like Gungi or something like that.
Yes,
and
it is.
It's basically like kind of like a glorified chess, similar, I guess. And she like beats the brakes off of Meruem, like constantly. Like Meruem cannot beat her. And he starts to realize that even if you're not born with a certain status, there is something valuable inside of everyone, you know? And so his life is this big what if, because, spoiler alert, like we said earlier, Meruem ends up dying. He ends up fighting Netero, who's the president of the Hunter Association, massively powerful. And Netero ends up sacrificing himself in a suicide attack that poisons Meruem and kills him shortly after. And so it's this big what if, because even though Meruem was a tyrant at first, he softened as time went on. He told Netero, you know, I've realized that humans do have value to them other than just being livestock. You know, I will give, when I'm king, I will give the humans a space of land to live on. We won't terrorize them. We'll protect them. They will be safe. So it is this what if, you know, it's like what would Meruem have turned into given another 10 years? You know, would he have become the benevolent king that he had the potential to become, or would he have relapsed back into being the ruthless tyrant that he was at the beginning?
And I think that's
which is why it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, I think that's where me and you are both. Like, we can't sit here and say one of us is on one end of the spectrum or the other. We're both sitting here in the middle because of essentially what you said, those two words. It's the what if, you know?
Yeah.
What if, you know? Unfortunately, he really didn't have a long life anyways. He was born, and essentially that was when the Chimera Ant arc started. He maybe, I don't know, like, how long it would have been in anime time.
Couple weeks?
Probably, a couple weeks or maybe even a month or
months.
so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he didn't have a lot of time to even begin to fully grasp the humanity that he was truly starting to understand. And like you said, that's why I really can't have a rebuttal to it and just agree with everything you just said. He started to see the value of humans, and he was essentially starting to see that humans and chimera ants could live together in harmony and essentially work off of one another. It's just unfortunate the way that it ended for him. So I guess you could it's a double-bladed sword. You could go either way with it, essentially. And I guess to me, if I had to pick like one end of the spectrum or not, I think he did deserve better. But at the same time, he did have to pay for the heinous crimes that he was committing already. So it's one or the other.
I think that's the distinction, right? It's like, yes, he deserved better because we would have liked to see what he turned into.
Yeah.
And like his trajectory was definitely encouraging and positive. But on the other hand, it's like he didn't deserve better because he was a ruthless tyrant who killed hundreds of people, thousands of people probably. I think it's even more than that. Like if you count all of his subordinates, I guess, and what they did, it was probably like millions of people. So like he definitely did have to pay for those sins, but it's an interesting debate, you know. And Meruem is such a cool character. He's one of my favorite anime villains, just because he has this cool transformation and character development as the Chimera Ant arc goes on.
And with that is going to bring a close to our anime characters that deserved better. Episode 2. Again, this is a series. If you guys enjoyed this episode today, feel free to get in the comments below and especially leave your input, whether or not you think these characters deserved better or not, especially on the Meruem part. We will be down there, we will be listening, we will be reading and answering everybody, and we also want to just extend a big thank you once again for those of you that have subscribed to the channel and that have liked the videos as well, and we cannot wait to continue to bring content to you moving forward.
And again, just another reminder, like we talked about at the beginning, new function that we're introducing. Make sure that you guys in the comments post any questions that you have for us, the content creators. And then next week, before episode 9, I think I'm this week posting a video on Instagram where I answer any of the questions that you guys have. Again, thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, and supporting the channel. It means the world to us. We love the fan base.
And with that, we're going to get up out of here, and we will see you next time, the Anime Society.
Peace!